Jay-Z is currently going through some hard times.
Jay-Z is accused of a 13-year-old girl. That is new in the Diddy lawsuit.
But it feels like nobody on planet Earth is enjoying Jay-Z's downfall more than 50 Cent.
And there's an accusation about Jay-Z and Diddy and a teenager, 13-year-old teenager. Right. And we were speaking about just the statement.
Right.
The statement, you were saying you felt like that was calculated.
That was, the statement is something from, you can tell it was written by a lawyer.
Yeah, and this is on your,
Who put that out?
this is on,
50?
yeah, it says, I don't know what's going on, but are we still going to have the Super Bowl? I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, I'm asking for Kendrick. You know?
Jay-Z and 50 Cent has been beefing publicly for so long that a lot of us has forgotten exactly why they're beefing. So in this video, we're gonna rewind a little bit and break down the history of Jay-Z and 50 Cent beef to fully understand why these two are arch nemesis. This entire beef could be traced back to 1999 when 50 Cent dropped How to Rob. In How to Rob, 50 Cent name dropped and dissed Jay-Z along with almost every rapper in the industry.
What Jigga just sold, like 4 milli, got something to live for. Don't want a nigga putting foe through that Bentley coupe dough.
In today's era, name dropping somebody you have no problems with, we will call it clout chasing. In that era, clout chasing really wasn't a thing. So 50 Cent being one of the first rappers to discover what clout chasing was, he was able to use it to his advantage to get attention.
I needed something that was going to create attention around me, and How to Rob got me noticed immediately. Most of those artists weren't prepared for someone saying their name in a song. Throughout the culture, everyone was asking, whoa, who is this new guy? Because he's saying everyone's name and don't care about nothing. Some of the biggest ones, including Jay-Z, Big Pun, and Wu-Tang, had responses for me, which was exactly what I hoped for. Columbia snatched up the song and put it on the In Too Deep soundtrack, which exposed me to a wider audience. Everything was going according to my plan.
In hindsight, we know rappers are the biggest pump fakers ever and they aren't living their raps. But during that era, if somebody says on a record they're gonna put bullets in your car, well, that's a threat you gotta take seriously. And Jay-Z took it seriously. And Jay-Z responded back to 50 Cent, even though 50 Cent was a novice at the time. Later that year, Jay-Z responded back with a diss track of his own titled It's Hot. Now, It's Hot took several jabs at 50 Cent, but there's one particular line that stood out among the others.
Go against Jigga, your ass is dense. I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 cents?
That diss track was so scathing that if that diss track was about anybody else other than 50 Cent, it would have ended their career. But 50 Cent rise at the time was so meteoric that there's almost nothing you could have done to take 50 Cent out the game. But Jay-Z knew this, which is why the Jay-Z and 50 Cent conflict didn't last too long. Even though 50 Cent dissed Jay-Z first, Jay-Z realized that 50 Cent was on his way to superstardom, so he wanted to be friends instead. And Jay-Z was ahead of the time. Jay-Z would tell his entire camp about 50 Cent's meteoric rise because he predicted it before anybody.
There's a point where Jay walks in the studio and it was just so happened that everybody was in the studio at the same. I think it was we were working on Blueprint 2. That's when like everybody was like in the studio a lot during that time.
Right.
And Jay walked in the studio. He said it before, but I'm telling you how impactful it was. He walked in the studio and he was like, yo, this dude 50, y'all gonna have to deal with him in the next couple months. He said it to the whole crew.
I remember one time walking in the studio and it was like a small gap and Bleak Beans, everybody was in there and I was like, man, I'm telling you, man, y'all got a chance right now, just flood it, put out a lot of music because 50 Cent is coming. And you know, 4 months later in the club hit and it was over. And it was just like, okay, now everybody got to sit on the sidelines and wait this tidal wave out.
The tidal wave that they were expecting actually turned out to be a tsunami. Because 50 Cent wave was no joke. And Jay-Z, being the astute businessman, realized, hey, bruh, if I can't beat him, I might as well join him. So instead of being 50 Cent's adversary, Jay-Z actually got pretty close to 50 Cent. So close that these two decided they were going to go on tour. They were going to do a joint tour in 2003 called Rock the Mic. The 50 Cent and Jay-Z tour was expected to be the biggest hip-hop tour ever. But mysteriously, after the first leg of the tour, Jay-Z dropped out the tour with no explanation. He just dropped out. Now, 50 Cent continued the tour by himself, but a lot of fans wonder why Jay-Z dropped out the tour. Was it conflict with 50 Cent? Did Jay-Z go on tour with 50 Cent realizing that he was no longer the headliner and he felt some type of way? We never got an answer. But what we did get is Jay-Z mysteriously retiring from rap. Later that year, after mysteriously dropping out of the tour, Jay-Z will announce his last album. He will say the Black Album will be his last album. Now, when he was asked to explain exactly why he was retiring, Jay-Z really didn't have a clear answer. It was really convoluted. Furthering, the fan theory that Jay-Z went on tour, seeing that 50 Cent was outpacing him, outlasting him, and Jay-Z couldn't take it. Jay-Z couldn't take being numero uno no more, so Jay-Z decided he was gonna bow out because he couldn't compete.
The big thing, and I'm sure you had to answer this question 100,000 times, why are you retiring?
I just felt like, what more can I say? Like, achieve as a solo artist.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in the comfort zone as far as making the music. I can make music. Like, I know how to structure a song. You know what I'm saying? I know how to make a B chorus during the verse.
In so many words, he will state he feels like he's not being rewarded anymore for making great music and being great at music. He feels like right now the game is in a place of copycats. Everybody is copying each other, and maybe the game left him behind.
The game right now, it seems like everybody just follow what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And that's not rap music. That's not what it's about. Rap is about being rebellious. If everybody over here is doing that, I'm doing this. Look at me over here. Dogs.
About being innovative, right?
Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Duke? This is what I'm doing over here. You know what I'm saying? So, all those combinations together, I think it's just time for me to do something else.
That interview confirmed for a lot of fans that Jay-Z was retiring because he could no longer compete with 50 Cent. And he's taking his own advice that he gave his own artists, where you either drop a lot of music and get on top right now, or sit it out when 50 Cent gets hot. Jay-Z decided he was going to sit it out, which in honesty was a very good decision for Jay-Z, because if we look back, in hindsight, Jay-Z just predicted what was happening, right, in 2003, because when 50 Cent took over, he really took over. He dominated hip-hop. See, in 2005, 50 Cent did something that only 11 other hip-hop albums have ever done. 50 Cent sold 1 million copies first week. 50 Cent not only outsold everybody, but we seen what happened to the people who went up against 50 Cent. We seen all the other rappers who stayed in the game and wanted to beef with 50 Cent or be his adversary. We seen 50 Cent demolish each and every one of them. Most famously, Ja Rule. We seen what was left of Ja Rule's career after 50 Cent's run. So it was very smart of Jay-Z to go away and allow 50 Cent to have his time. But Jay-Z wouldn't go away for too long. You see, while Jay-Z was gone, 50 Cent was taking the title of the King of New York. He was claiming that title because at the time he was the King of New York. But after Jay-Z's 4-year hiatus, Jay-Z returned in 2007. And when he returned, one of the first things he did was diss 50 Cent. Jay-Z essentially came out of retirement to be on 50 Cent's I Get Money remix. 50 put Diddy and Jay-Z on the record. Now, on the record, Jay-Z did something that he wouldn't have done if 50 Cent was still at the peak of his powers. And that was diss 50 Cent on his own record.
Just call me Forbes.com. In case y'all forgot, New York is still mine.
50 Cent had been claiming title of King of New York, and then when you hop on a record with him, you made sure to add, don't forget, New York is still mine. It was super shady. It came across as a sneak diss, but maybe the fans were reaching. I mean, 50 Cent didn't express that he felt a way about it, but a lot of people thought, Jay-Z, you being shady. But Jay-Z wouldn't see his relationship with 50 Cent severed until later that year. Jay-Z was always uncomfortable for some reason that 50 Cent, who's also a native New Yorker, was on top of the rap game. So even though Jay-Z was losing a battle to 50 Cent as an artist, Jay-Z, who was now the president of Def Jam, will find a way to win the battle against 50 Cent as an executive. At the time, Kanye was on Def Jam, 50 Cent was on Interscope. So when 50 Cent and Kanye West expressed the idea of dropping an album on the same weekend to go head-to-head, and whoever loses the sales battle will retire from rap, well, Jay-Z, who is now the president of Def Jam, who could really impact this battle of sales, was really excited. He could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. He could put a lot of resources in making sure his artist outsells 50 Cent, as well as those resources he's putting into his artist Kanye. Those resources would also be used to take out his biggest adversary, a man who he's been jealous of since 2003, a man who he wanted out the game for a long time because he believes the title of King New York rightfully belongs to him.
Curtis versus Graduation. Our battle took place in 2007, when Kanye's third album, Graduation, was due to come out a week after my third album, Curtis. When I saw that the dates were so close to each other, I realized we had a chance to do something special by turning our releases into a head-to-head competition. I pitched Kanye on the concept of us dropping on the same day. Being an independent thinker himself, Kanye saw the value in my vision and agreed to move his release date up. He understood we could collectively generate more buzz by hyping up our battle than being out on individual promo tours. The media loves a spectacle, and few things were more of a show than Kanye and me going head-to-head. We both played it for all it was worth, doing appearances together and adopting the role of two prize fighters before a big fight. To be clear, there was no actual beef between us. Kanye had never expressed any discomfort about the success I had, and I respected him as an artist. It was truly just a case of two people being comfortable with the concept of competing against each other.
But it became perfectly clear to 50 Cent really early into this battle with Kanye that he wasn't just competing with Kanye, that he was competing with other people. Now, 50 Cent wouldn't name these people, but 50 Cent would just refer to them as Kanye West's big bro, which we would all know later on that he was referring to Jay-Z.
This is definitely a big day in hip-hop. It's a monumental day in hip-hop. We got to know, how are both of y'all feeling right now? It's 11th of September. How are both of y'all feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know I'm a lead. Of course I'm feeling good. He brought his big brother with him, and his big brother ain't no competition for me.
Kanye, how do you feel about that?
You
Sit your butt down.
like that? Where's Big Brother at?
Oh, do we gotta call Jay out?
Where's Big Brother at?
I think he's grown. I think he can handle this by himself.
You know, I'm a horse, so I had to hand the mic off, you know, to my big brother, help me out a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Now, you guys both represent two totally different styles in hip-hop. Do you guys feel that all these different styles can coexist with each other?
He was saying, do you feel like all the styles can coexist?
Of course. You know what I mean? Everybody's got a different preference. I feel like I'm at a point in my career that I'm Muhammad Ali right now. You know what I mean? And what I mean is a lot of people watch, but they don't necessarily want to see me win because I won so big in front of them in a short period of time. You know what I mean? So it's all the way good.
50 Cent calling out an already jealous and spiteful Jay-Z out like that publicly in hindsight was a big mistake because all that did was added fuel to Jay-Z fire and made Jay-Z more committed than ever to make sure the underdog Kanye would outsell 50 Cent without a doubt. So ultimately, Kanye West did outsell 50 Cent. Now, 50 Cent would believe that Jay-Z and Def Jam pulled all the stops and did some things that was a little sketchy to make sure that Kanye West outsold him because Jay-Z had a personal vendetta against him.
Interscope should have supported my plan. I was competing against an artist whose label was doing everything, and I mean everything, to make sure he beat me. Jimmy Iovine might not have cared about beating Kanye, but Jay-Z, who was the head of Def Jam at the time, damn sure cared about beating me. Jay had been extremely uncomfortable with my run in NYC for years, so he did everything under the sun to make sure he could beat me through Kanye. I realized what I was up against in the week leading up to the release, when Kanye and I both agreed to do joint appearances on BET. I had planned to bring Eminem with me, but BET told Interscope we couldn't have guests. Interscope said fine and told him not to come. Then the day of the show, I get there and Jay's performing with Kanye. So clearly Jay had gone to some lengths to get around the no guest rule, whereas Interscope had just let it go. They simply weren't as motivated as Jay. Jay took a lot of pride in Kanye's victory.
50 Cent was supposed to retire if he lost to Kanye West, but he refused. 50 Cent would say that Jay-Z and Def Jam cheated. 50 would accuse Kanye of cheating in their SoundScan battle. Now, SoundScan at the time was how people would count the album sales. Now, 50 Cent would give a statement to the UK music magazine Uncut, and he would say he's never had a fraction of sales 50 Cent has. They could have only one scan and have it count 4 times. West's entire career hasn't sold half what I sold on my first album. So 50 Cent was very skeptical that Kanye West was being projected to sell 950,000 copies first week, while he was being projected to sell like 600,000 copies first week. and he believes that that particular gap was very suspicious and it wasn't authentic. 50 Cent would accuse Jay-Z of being a mastermind behind this. He would say that Jay-Z took Kanye West beating 50 Cent as a personal win for Jay-Z due to Jay-Z's jealousy and hatred for 50 Cent over the years.
He sold more. You didn't retire.
But later, if you look at Jay-Z's documentaries, he points that moment out as a point that he beat me, right? How did he beat me if it was Kanye's? Because he was the president of Def Jam, and they did everything they could to make that work at that point. So it was like, we have to make the numbers.
Oh, you think it was fuzzy math?
Absolutely.
Without context, it would look like 50 Cent was being a sore loser. But if you look at the facts and look at the context, 50 Cent was actually onto something, and it was really sketchy. Only 5 years prior, the New York Post did an independent investigation and exposed Jay-Z and Def Jam for exploiting SouthScan to fabricate their numbers for the Blueprint 2 so they could go #1 over Eminem. So here's how it worked, all right? So according to the New York Post, independent music retailers are fabricating numbers reported to Nielsen SouthScan, inflating the numbers of albums sold by music labels such as White Hot Island, Def Jam, the Post has learned. But here's the thing, these like small mom and pop shops, they were tasked with accurately reporting the album sales, right? So all these mom and pop shops had to do was take some money under the table from Def Jam and they could scan it as many times as possible. One person buy one, you scan it 20 times. And that's what it would appear that Jay-Z and Def Jam was doing, right? You see, according to the New York Post, in one example of the sales inflation, an indie retailer in the Southeast recently reported to Nielsen SoundScan that it had sold roughly 3,000% more copies of Jay-Z's new album Blueprint 2, an Island Def Jam release, than it actually did. All right? So this retailer reported, we sold 3,000 more copies than they actually did. And SouthScan took it as fact. They didn't fact check it at all. Right? Now, the scheme was verified by another indie retailer in the Southeast, which typically reports to Nielsen SouthScan tripled the amount actually sold. For example, the store sold roughly 50 copies of Jay-Z's album recently, but scanned 150 for Nielsen SoundScan. Now, the source says this practice has been going on for multiple years. So 50 Cent wasn't off when he called out Def Jam and Jay-Z for exploiting a system to make sure that Kanye West won this battle over him. And ever since then, bruh, 50 Cent hated and despised Jay-Z and never got over it. During his 2009 interview with Tim Westwood, Jay-Z was asked about a moment that shocked the world that took place not long before their interview.
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
As we all probably know by now, Kanye West went up there, yanked the mic out of Taylor Swift's hand after she won Music Video of the Year over Beyonce. And in a drunken rant, he would pretty much say that Taylor Swift don't deserve this and that Beyonce deserved this award because she had one of the greatest music videos of all time. Tim Westwood would reignite the 50 Cent and Jay-Z beef by telling Jay-Z he doesn't believe that Kanye West would have done it if 50 Cent was up there. So he believes that Kanye West is a coward who picked on a weak victim.
Criticism of Kanye, and I do want you to answer on this behalf if you can, is that I think he's picking his victims a bit too easily. I don't think he would have done that if that was 50 up there, you know?
I think he would have done that if that was 50 Cent. No one's scared of 50 Cent.
Well, you know what I mean.
I want everyone to be clear. No one's scared of 50 Cent.
50 Cent will respond back to Jay-Z's comments during an interview with Angie Martinez, and 50 Cent will confirm and double down that if he was up there, Kanye West wouldn't try him like that.
That's why I made a statement about Taylor Swift. Like I said, if I was actually up there, he wouldn't come take my trophy.
Right.
Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
And Jay disagrees.
Jay said nobody's scared of 50. That's what the quote was.
Yeah, but he should address the guy who made him feel like a punk. Well, he had to make it clear that no one's scared of 50 Cent because that person was obviously making him feel like maybe he's afraid or Kanye West is afraid of 50 Cent. It wasn't 50 Cent.
After this moment, Jay-Z went cold turkey. Jay-Z really stopped responding or stopped engaging with 50 Cent. However, 50 Cent wasn't done with Jay-Z, and 50 Cent began to apply pressure on Jay-Z. Now, one way that 50 Cent applied pressure on Jay-Z after this situation was when 50 Cent took interest in Beanie Sigel. You see, at the time, Jay-Z and Beanie Sigel was having heavy conflict. The conflict started because Beanie Sigel was incarcerated, and the judge had put Beanie Siegel's fate in Jay-Z's hands. Now, while at a hearing for Beanie Siegel's release, the judge asked Jay-Z, would you be responsible for Beanie Siegel's whereabouts if we release him? And Jay-Z's answers left Beanie Sigel broken and feeling betrayed.
There's this rumor that one time that Jay got on the stand or whatever, and they asked him, would you be responsible for Beans? And he said no.
Yeah.
That's the truth?
Absolute truth. You know, I'm going for my bail hearing in the feds, and the judge asked Jay, you know, everybody's saying all these good things and all that, you know what I mean, the character witnesses, Dame, and, you know, everybody's saying, and even Jay said a whole lot of good things about me, and the judge was going to let me go, monitor. And she said, you know, would you be willing, and that's the part that people don't, would you be willing to be responsible for his whereabouts, not be responsible for my actions, just his whereabouts? Would you be willing to do that? Provide us with all the information, you know, saying that he's going to be here, there. And after all that good shit, and he said no. But it was like the way he said it, and he put his head down, he was like, no, I've never been crushed like that ever in my life. Cause I'm like, damn, this is my man, like how you... And I looked at it like, all right, no. Nigga.
50 will react to this by saying he doesn't respect Jay-Z, and he feels like Jay-Z uses street dudes whenever he needs them and then discards them when he doesn't need them any longer.
A piece of work, man. He always put somebody in front of him. When Jada came for him, he put Beanie in front of him. And Beanie went back and forth with Jadakiss. When Cam came for him, he put True Life in front of him. And they went back and forth.
When Beanie Sigel got released from prison, 50 Cent would attempt to pull the ultimate chess move, which is sign Beanie Sigel and get him away from Jay-Z. However, when 50 Cent attempted that, Jay-Z stepped in the way and convinced Beanie Sigel to not sign a deal with 50 Cent because he has something going for him.
Did the end of the day, I was like, yo, as soon as he come home, I'd bring that project over here. So I was going to give, he would have got at least, he'd have got at least 800,000 at that point to come in. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
To come over.
But why didn't the deal happen?
Because Jay was telling them that he didn't want to lose him. It's the same. You know what happened?
But in fact, Jay-Z had nothing for Beanie Sigel and ultimately shelved Beanie Sigel after convincing him not to sign with 50 Cent. Now, even though Jay-Z stopped the signing with G-Unit, you know, Beanie Sigel and 50 Cent was still able to get on the record, and 50 Cent was still able to sneak diss Jay-Z on the record. And when the record got released, it was pushed out there as a Jay-Z diss. So 50 Cent ultimately, you know, was up one. You know, he was able to diss Jay-Z on a record with his hottest artist at the time.
This is 50 Cent and Beanie Sigel. I go off.
Despite everything 50 Cent does publicly, Jay-Z actually stays quiet and beefs with 50 Cent behind the scene. 50 Cent says that Jay-Z plays dirty game with the business.
Why would you and Jay still have issues after all these years?
I don't have issues. You know, my thing is, look, I think in that point, yeah, he was hating because he was saying the NFL had an issue with me when I got 11 professional sports teams now that I'm the official champagne and cognac of. And where's the hate there? Like, I don't understand it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you said that there was an issue. It's an issue because he was doing the program. He didn't want me to be in the show. And wouldn't do it without me in the show. And then he made the adjustments.
50 Cent believes the beef at this point is one-sided, and Jay-Z is the one going out of his way to spite him, such as with the Super Bowl, as he just explained. 50 Cent was denied being in the Super Bowl until last minute because Jay-Z went out of his way to make sure that 50 Cent was not going to be in the Super Bowl. It wasn't until Eminem threatened to pull out last minute that he finally says, okay, we're going to allow 50 Cent to be a part of it. But From the very beginning, Jay-Z gave Dr. Dre creative control to bring anybody he wanted to bring. And Dre chose to bring Eminem, you know, et cetera, right? And Dre wanted to bring 50 Cent, but Jay-Z shut down Dre from the very beginning. So it's things like this that Jay-Z is utilizing his power behind the scenes to really affect 50 Cent, you know, opposed to 50 Cent, I guess, just trolling Jay-Z publicly. And this is why they got beef. Y'all let me know in the comment section, who do you guys think is in the wrong or in the right when it comes to this beef? It's been a while, but let me know. And if you're still watching, click on this video somewhere on my screen to find out why I'm sick and tired of these dumb Drake fell off takes and why I think they're horribly wrong. Click on this video right here to find out what I'm talking about. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.